Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Spider-Man figure unboxing and review video. Now today we are taking a look at the newly released Spider-Man black and gold suit from No Way Home. Now at the time of filming this video, the movie isn't out. It is incredibly rare that we get a Hot Toys release prior to the film itself. So yeah, I'm more than curious as to what this suit can actually do in the movie. Now if you are looking to pick up your very own black and gold suit Spidey, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. I have included the link down in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and an awesome reward system. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. Here of course we have the box art, and just like the suit itself, it's done in a black and gold color scheme, and I love the way it looks. You've got a Spidey logo front and center with all of this tech detail, then some Doctor Strange magical effects as well. Interestingly enough, we have a sticker up the top here that says, Spider-Man receives a new web shooter imbued with arcane powers. I'm pretty sure that's almost everything we know about this particular suit at this point. I can't wait to see the movie and see what this suit can actually do. We do of course have all of the relevant legal information on the back, but we're not really here to dissect the box. We're more here to look at Spidey himself, so let's get him out here. As I said in the intro, it's not often, if ever, that we get a Hot Toys release prior to the film, so yeah, I am super excited. This is something that I feel they should do more often when they can. It helps build hype for the movie, and it helps people who otherwise wouldn't want to wait 2 to 3 years for a release to get something immediately, and hopefully discover their love for Hot Toys. In hand, yeah, I'm really loving the way this suit looks. Now we do of course have a bunch of accessories, so what we are going to do now is get them all laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Here we have all the parts and pieces. Now starting off with the display base first, it's the usual Hot Toys hexagonal style base, which is actually new for MCU Spidey. Except for the Infinity War Iron Spider, we've exclusively gotten the Age of Ultron style base. This is the first time they've switched it over. Does that bother you? I don't know, but it definitely bothers me, because for the other two films we've got a nice suite of matching bases, whereas with this guy we've got something completely different. I mean, it still looks and feels the part, and I'm sure I'm going to get used to it, but I would have liked just a little bit of continuity. I love the circuitry on the top with the black and gold motif, a big honkin' Spidey logo, as well as Spider-Man No Way Home, plus black and gold suit on the front there. You also have a dynamic flight pole, which is one of the smaller ones, which they usually give to Spidey, and also a waist clamp. Do be careful when using this, because the spring is super strong, and the foam can actually be rather sharp and leave some indentations on the suit, so just use some caution and you should be fine. Now you do get the full array of Spidey webs as you would expect. This one is still my favourite. It's the spooled up web. It's a little bit more dynamic, and then we get the usual suspects. You can also take the funnel attachment and peg it on to the end of the webs to make it look like Spidey has webbed up a baddie perhaps, or is sticking to a wall. Now you do get the full array of Spidey eyes, starting off with the closed Peter Tingle eyes. I'm not sure if we're going to see him do this again in the movie, we'll have to wait and see. Slightly more open, even more open, and then fully wide open. He does have another set that's already installed on the figure. Now one of the new pieces is this magical web accessory. it actually has an angle on the end up the top that pegs into his arcane imbued web shooter. You can see you literally remove this piece and then peg it in to the top here. This does have a very Doctor Strange vibe, and it just simply slips over the forearm. It's painted in a stunning metallic gold finish. Now I'm kind of seeing some Eye of Agamotto style design work here, and I'm pretty sure that is on purpose, but we'll have to wait and see in the movie. Now, to go along with that magical web effect, you get these two pieces. These slide on to the web, and they have some stoppers there to keep them in place, but for some reason they are just translucent plastic. Now you may be sitting here thinking, Justin, what are you talking about? Of course they're translucent. Well, bringing in the Doctor Strange magical effect, as you can see, there is actually some dry brushing on the surface, which makes it, in my opinion, look a hell of a lot better. But either way, they're translucent orange plastic, so I guess they get the job done. You do get one more piece, which is actually a Spidey style web that magnetizes to his chest. There is also some magical scripture around the edges. I can't wait to see what this is all about. Now, you do get the same exact Tom Holland head sculpt as we got with the upgraded suit, except, is it? Bringing in the upgraded suit one, as you can see, there is a very clear difference in skin texture. The one on the left, being the brand new one, looks so much better, which is crazy because I'm pretty sure these were released in the same year. But it just goes to show that even within the same year, Hot Toys is always improving. The skin texture looks fantastic, the eyes look glossy and realistic, and then the hair does have a ton of sculpted in detail. One thing that I hope they've prevented on this new one is the grey hair issue that we had on the original. As you can see in the crevices, mine is starting to turn a little bit grey. It really shouldn't be doing that, but apparently it's down to the type of finishing products they've used on the outside of the paint applications that tends to make it grey just a little bit. Now, moving on to the hands, you get a full array as you would expect, and there is a ton of shiny metallic gold circuitry on the back here. You also have the interchangeable palm section, so you can use the web pieces. Now, if you remember, with upgraded suit, they did away with the web shooters, the external pieces that you actually go ahead and peg the webs into, so Hot Toys had to come up with something different, and they came up with this. It's a swap out palm piece, and you peg the web into that. Now, I personally really do like this. It kind of has the spooled up effect, like it's charged and it's shooting out, so for me it does work, but I totally understand if it doesn't work for you. So as you can see, here is a normal hand, and here is one with the web attachment. I think it's a genius way of doing it, and it's simple and to the point. But of course, you do get a full array, as I said, of hands for Spidey. What we are going to do now is get Spidey himself out here and take a closer look. Here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And at this point, I think we're reaching peak Spidey. What do I mean by that? Well, let me break it down. Hot Toys have made a bunch of Spidey figures at this point. They've innovated, they've experimented, they've changed things along the way, until now we've gotten to this point, the No Way Home line. And I think we're about to see some of the best Spidey figures ever made, because all of that experimentation and innovation has been combined into this release, and hopefully the subsequent other releases from this film. What am I talking about? Well, let me break it down. First of all, the body. It's borrowed from the upgraded suit. The body was fantastic there, and it's fantastic here. The proportions are great, it looks realistic, it looks like a dude in a suit, there's definition where there needs to be, there's musculature, it looks awesome. There's no two ways about it. And then the fabric of the suit is straight up borrowed from something like the advanced suit. It's that rubbery material with the texture on the surface, there's circuitry, there's gold parts, there's raised webbing dots, and the head sculpt finally is fully sculpted, but we'll discuss that a lot more in just a second. So yeah, overall, I am more than happy with this figure. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in and take a closer look at the details. Here we have him up close and personal, and in just a second we will swap out the head sculpt for the Tom Holland one and pop on the various magical accessories, because I for one am curious to see what they look like on the figure and also how it all works. Now starting off with the head sculpt first, it's glorious. For the first time, well, except for Iron Spider, but let's not talk about him, they've gone with a fully sculpted head sculpt for a regular fabric Spidey suit. I'm so glad they did this, and it goes to show that, yeah, they can perfectly match the texture of the sculpted head to the body. It looks and feels the part. The raised dotted sections seem to match quite well, the gold web lines look crisp and sharp, and you do have all of that circuitry and tech detail on the mask. You also have the magnetic lenses. You push the corner, and as you can see, they will pop out. Then you can interchange them for the ones that you'd prefer to use. Now moving down to the suit itself, there is a lot to see here. There are various little markings with some numbers here and there, a ton of circuitry and tech detail. Some people have been guessing that this might be the upgraded suit turned inside out. I'm not exactly sure what would cause Peter to do that, but it is potentially something that happens. We'll have to wait and see in the film. Now, of course, famously, when Hot Toys announced this, he had the red forearms. They then later updated it and changed it, but still managed to get this guy out on time. He has a ton of tech detail here as well, and yeah, I think it does look better than the red on the suit. It blends the entire look together just that little bit more. The red stood out, for me, in all the wrong ways. It's also a slightly asymmetrical design. You can see some what looks to be copper circuitry on one side, then it's blank on the other, and all of the other panels are sort of chopped and changed throughout the entire suit. I am getting Killmonger vibes here, and for me, yeah, that really works. You do also have some glossy circuitry on the black sections for the legs. As the light catches it, yeah, you can see it quite well. And then on the back, the same thing can be said for this panel, plus a gold-edged spider symbol. It all works quite nicely. Lastly, coming down to the boots, they look very, very clean. We will be discussing that more a little bit later in the video, but I also love this detail on the top. It kind of reminds me of a QR code. Not exactly sure if that's what they were going for, and I don't know if I'm going crazy. Let me know if that reminds you of that as well down below. But overall, yeah, I'm loving the way this looks. For those of you wondering what he looks like with the magical accessories, like I am, and here we have it, and I for one love the way this looks. Now for those of you curious, like I was, as to whether or not the arcane imbued web shooter can go on the right arm like we see it in the trailer, yes it can. It's interchangeable, it can go on either side. And as for the chest logo, which we discussed earlier, it's magnetic, it literally just pops on there, and it does do an interesting enough job of looking like a magical effect. It's slightly raised from the suit, and of course, it's that translucent orange plastic. But for me, the one thing that I'm struggling with is, do I display him with this head sculpt or the masked one? Usually it would be no contest and I'd go for the masked head sculpt every day of the week. But this is such a good sculpt, as it was with upgraded suit as well, that I'm tempted to use it here. Do let me know which way you would go down below, but for me, yeah, I'm still not entirely sure. As for the way it looks and fits on the body, it fits perfectly. It's in proportion, it's not too big, it's not too small. It fits in the exact same way that it also worked with the upgraded suit, because the underlying body here is of course exactly the same. Now I do have to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood, who initially came up with this idea, but if you remember, in the trailer we saw him do something like this, and these Doctor Strange magical effects kind of formed around this gauntlet piece, and if you own the Infinity War version of Doctor Strange, you can do just that. Now unfortunately, this Spidey doesn't come with these pieces to recreate that scene from the trailer, but if you have Doctor Strange, yeah, this totally works, and it looks awesome. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have black and gold suit and upgraded suit standing together. And as you can see, yeah, they look great together. They're roughly the same height, the proportions are almost identical because the underlying bodies are identical, and that works for me. If the rumors are true and the upgraded suit gets flipped inside out to reveal all of this tech detail, then I think black and gold suit is going to make even more sense in the display. I, for one, love the way this looks, and if you're crazy for all things Spidey like me, you're going to want to pick this guy up so you can show off the evolution of Spidey suits in the MCU. Next up, here we have the stealth suit, and y'all know I'm partial to a good black suit Spidey, so these two work fantastically together. I love how different they are as well. The black and gold suit is obviously a lot more bling, it's going to stand out on the shelf, but so does the stealth suit in a different way. It's more function over form with the pouches and panels and various clips and buckles. It's different, and I love that. But standing together, you can see for some reason stealth suit is significantly shorter. It's obviously down to the underlying body. I would have thought they would be exactly the same, but as you can see, yeah, there very clearly is a height difference. And here we have a classic, the suit that started Tom Holland's journey in the MCU in Civil War. I love the way this looks. It's very clearly an evolution of this design, but it's just a little bit more out there. It's combined with all that Doctor Strange stuff, it's got the circuitry, it's got the black and gold look. I love how these two complement each other, but I also love how different they are. And because it seems Doctor Strange is the one to imbue all of this arcane power onto Spidey, like that sticker says on the box, I thought it would be fitting to see what they look like together. And yeah, this puts me right back to watching the trailer for the first time and seeing these two on screen. This looks awesome. They are going to be standing right next to each other, at least for now, front and center in my Spidey display. You can see that Tom Holland, being a smaller dude, is shorter than Doctor Strange here in figure format, and that works for me. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be pulling Doctor Strange out of whatever display they have him in currently and putting him in to their Spidey collection. Moving on to the Toys Era Fiend, aka Green Goblin. Oh yes, this works so very well. Now that we are seeing this exact suit back in No Way Home, I know a lot of people are looking to pick this guy up. I am hoping that Hot Toys eventually gives us their own version, but for now, we have this guy, he works perfectly. He is roughly the same height as Spidey. I don't know if that's correct. Is Willem Dafoe the same height as Tom Holland? Either way, he's up on his glider anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. But if you're wondering what this guy looks like alongside black and gold suit, this should give you an idea. And lastly, for the shot I'm sure you've all been waiting for, here we have the three cinematic Spideys standing together. From left to right, we've got Thunder Toys Spider variant. Now, the only reason why I didn't go with the Hot Toys version of this guy is because this one is just so much better in my opinion. Go ahead and check out the review if you haven't already. Front and center, Hot Toys black and gold suit, and then on the right, we've got the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Spidey with the Andrew Garfield head sculpt from the Amazing Spider-Man 1 release. But either way, these three look awesome together. I also like that they're not all the exact same height. We've got Tom being the smallest, then Andrew Garfield, and then Tobey Maguire being the tallest. I know that technically that's not accurate, and I think Andrew Garfield is the tallest of the three, but Tobey being the more seasoned, experienced Spidey, it makes sense he's just that little bit taller and that little bit bulkier. But yeah, I personally am more than happy to display these three together in the collection. Just going over articulation. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go. Now starting off with the head sculpt, there is a double ball peg in the head and neck and another down in the neck itself, so you can get the head looking forward to there. looking back to there, swivel, and then of course pivot side to side. The arms do go up on ratchets to there, swivel, forward and back. There is a butterfly joint at the shoulder, swivel at the bicep, a double bend at the elbow that, yes, does go past 90, and a regular 1/6 scale wrist peg. As for the torso, it crunches forward a significant way, and goes back as well, swivel and pivot side to side. The legs go forward on soft ratchets to there, they will go out on very clicky ratchets to there, swivel at the upper thigh, a double bend at the knee that does go past 90, a ball joint down here for the ankle, plus, lastly, some toe articulation. Just going over the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing, and it's kind of a byproduct of Marvel removing the external web shooters, is that the suit itself can ride up at the wrist and expose the wrist peg. It's not the biggest deal in the world, as you can see. You can literally slide the suit all the way back down and pretty much cover that gap entirely, but it's still there and it's something to be aware of. The second annoying thing is the way you attach this piece to the chest symbol. It's relatively straightforward, and you all know I love magnets, but it's just a straight silver magnet. You can very clearly see it. They could have literally just painted it black and then it would have been almost invisible on the base of the spider logo, but as it stands, when you place it on there, yeah, it's right there. The third annoying thing, and technically this could go either way, you may actually prefer the way this looks, but I like what they did with the body for upgraded suit. You could see much more definition, there was a very clear collarbone, and there wasn't this ridge up here at the shoulder. I think it's down to this type of fabric that they're using for the suit, and by all means, they had to do it. To get all of this tech detail on the surface, it makes perfect sense, but if only they'd used just a touch more padding, so we could have gotten even more definition under the suit itself. The first cool thing is, oh yes, they finally mastered the Spidey ankle with this rubbery material. There's pretty much no creasing or bunching whatsoever. I mean, yes, there is a slight little bit there at the front, but for the most part, it's completely smooth. This is what I've been asking Hot Toys to do for ages, and finally they've figured it out, and they've done an amazing job. These might just be some of the best looking Spidey ankles I've seen to date. The second cool thing is they've finally gone with a fully sculpted head sculpt for a movie Spidey. We've seen it with the video game releases, but never with an MCU one. I'm not exactly sure why, they totally could have done it, but it took Spidey wearing this rubbery style fabric material for them to give it a go, and they've nailed it. The texture looks pretty much perfect to the suit itself, the colours are all on point, and the web lines look to be the same thickness. So yeah, fingers crossed going forward we get more fully sculpted head sculpts, because I for one think it looks a whole lot better. The third cool thing, and technically this applies to upgraded suit as well, but it's how good this Tom Holland head sculpt truly is. It's fantastic, and I for one am so glad that we got it again with the black and gold suit Spidey. That means for those of you out there who are waiting for something that looks entirely different, like this suit does, to go ahead and get this head sculpt, you can now do just that. You don't have to get the red and black suit if you are holding out. You can pick this one up and use this head sculpt on one of your other Spideys. Just wrapping up on the Hot Toys black and gold suit Spidey. Now going into this, I told you all I was very excited for a specific reason, and that's that we never really get a Hot Toys release prior to the movie itself, and we find ourselves coming out of the cinema, pulling up our phones, pulling up Facebook, and seeing a bunch of new announcements. And we say to ourselves, oh, I really want that, but then we find out it's 2 to 3 years away. That's not the case this time. We're about to go in to see No Way Home in December, and we have this guy available now. So it's one that we can see the movie, come home, sit back, look at our collection, and already have something that was a part of that film. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. And on top of all that, the The figure himself is also really good. The head sculpt has surprisingly been improved in terms of the paint applications. I love the suit itself. There is a lot going on here. There's tech detailing in the little ribbed sections. He also has the various gold patterning over the top. He will stand out in the display. Plus, he's got the magical effects and the arcane-imbued web shooter. Still curious about that one, but overall, yes, I do recommend him. He takes all of the fantastic things that we've seen with other Spidey releases, such as the awesome body from Upgraded Suit, the fabric that they used on Advanced Suit, and then the fully sculpted plastic head, and brings it all together in one very unique looking Spidey. Now, as I said at the beginning, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is down in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and an awesome reward system. While you're down there, check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.